Okay, so today's video we are going to talk about septic tanks and septic tanks on the perspective of public health. So public health is not only a preserve of the medical world, even as the name suggests, public health is a subject that deals with the members of the public at large. And in civil engineering, we talk about public health when we are designing systems that directly focuses on the cleanliness of the environment. So a bit of some theory. I checked from the Oxford Dictionary the two ways what public health really means. So the health of the population as a whole, especially as the subject of government regulation and support. So that's one of the definition of public health by the Oxford Dictionary. And then also the other definition, and this is related to the medical world, is a branch of medicine dealing with public health, including hygiene, epidemiology, and disease prevention. So for our scope here, we are going to focus on wastewater treatment. It's a branch of civil engineering that affects the environment and ultimately chances of disease outbreak. If these systems are not adequate to cater for the population or are not maintained properly, then they may lead to malfunctioning. So there are many like I was saying, so public health, it's as a subset of civil engineering. From this perspective, we are going to focus on wastewater treatment, a branch of civil engineering that affects environment and ultimately chances of disease outbreak if the systems are not adequate to cater for the population or are not maintained properly, leading to malfunction. Yeah, so this is very important. In big, normally in big estates, real estate projects, or even in big municipalities which have got a lot of households, we normally have a wastewater treatment plant. And a wastewater treatment plant is a project that costs billions of shillings. So for middle income earners who wants to put up housing projects and may not have access to connection of the trunk sewer line that collects sewers in a municipality, it may be costly to undertake into that. So normally house developers, they opt for other wastewater management systems like septic tank. We have biodigester. Yeah, these are the most efficient and cost-effective for middle-income families and home people who aspire to own their own homes. In terms of regulations that govern wastewater management in Kenya, even though if you compare to America, America is very okay. Let me not use specifically America, but Europe is far ahead in terms of legislation on wastewater management, and they started as early as the 1970s. And if you are a student of civil engineering or a practitioner, you should be famous of the book Metcalfe and Eddy, which is the most comprehensive textbook that is used for this branch of civil engineering, wastewater management. So that is very important. So in Kenya, we've got this legislation. We've got the Water Act Cap 372, which was an act of parliament to provide for the management, conservation, use, and control of water resources, and for the acquisition and regulation of rights to use water, to provide for regulation and management of water supply and sewerage services, to repeal the Water Act Cap 372 and certain provisions of the Local Government Act, and for related purposes. Yeah, so you can see the Water Act was implemented in 1960s when we had the colonial government. So other attempts that have been acted upon by our legislation, the Parliament of Kenya, is the famous EMCA, Environment Management and Coordination Act of 1999, which put up a legislation framework that came up with the famous NEMA, National Environment Management Authority. I think NEMA has tried in terms of environmental management because normally before you start a project anywhere, any kind of project that needs to be passed by any municipality, you talk of Nairobi, you talk of Kajiado, all the 47 counties, any project that you are undertaking that may impact on the general population negatively, you must do an EIA, environmental impact assessment, and in that report you're supposed to raise all the possible risks the project is going to potentially cause, and then you are also supposed to come up with a mitigation plan on how these risks are going to be mitigated, and you're also supposed to comply with all guidelines that have been put forth by these authorities. Yeah, before you sink a borehole, you must have a permit from Warma Water Management Regulation Authority. Yeah, before you start a borrow pit, you must also seek a permit from NEMA, and you must state how you are going to mitigate all the risks that are associated with that borrow pit. We talk of dust, we talk of loss of biodiversity because these are excavations, how you are going to make sure that there is no outbreak of malaria because of your borrow pit. When it rains, there is stormwater. Stormwater should not affect the adjacent land users. You should have proper water stormwater management system for your project and things like that. And then we also have water quality regulation. This is also a regulation, a piece of regulation that was passed in 2006. So it applies to water used for domestic, industrial, agricultural, and recreational purposes. water used for fisheries, wildlife purposes, and water used for any other purposes. Different standards apply to different modes of usage. These regulations provide for the protection of lakes, rivers, streams, wells, and other water resources. So studies have shown that the quality of wastewater in Nairobi generally falls within NEMA guidelines. Yeah, but frequent in Nairobi, these water users or even wastewater companies, the ones that deals with transportation and even abstraction of these wastes, they don't do frequent testing. And then the other thing that I've observed in Nairobi is there's the challenge of when water is being conveyed from the source to the user, because of congested systems, that is the stormwater system and the potable water conveyance system. And these systems have not been refurbished or redesigned for a very long period of time. So you find that there is mixing. And this is the reason why drinking water, tap water in Nairobi can be very dangerous for your health. So most of families in Nairobi have resorted to vendors. A lot of vendors have sprung up in the estates who are supposedly treating water. They are using these reverse osmosis plants that have been purchased from China, from other countries, other developed countries that can do manufacture these water treatment equipments, and I find them very effective and safe. Yeah, so that is one challenge that Nairobi residents faces. Yeah, the tap water that is supposedly being sold by the municipality is not safe to drink. So residents are buying water from these vendors, and it's quite expensive because I think it goes for 250 for a jerry can. Yeah, just I think it's a 10-liter jerry can, 10-liter container. Yeah, that goes for that, retails for around 250. So drinking water is costly in Nairobi. So if I can briefly define wastewater engineering, encompass the planning, design, construction, and supervision of water and wastewater systems. So wastewater production and treatment in Kenya. So basically in Kenya, we generate a lot of wastewater from industries, households, etc. And we tend to reuse. Some people try to reuse this water for agriculture, irrigation, but there are standards that are supposed to be followed for wastewater reuse for agriculture. You cannot just take raw sewer and dump it into your farm. For agriculture, there are minimum guidelines that are supposed to be followed. Unfortunately, wastewater reuse has not been adopted nor recognized by existing guiding laws. Currently we don't have any laws that prescribe how treated wastewater can be reused for irrigation activities. So that is a gap that I think researchers and practitioners in the field of wastewater engineering needs to, especially in Kenya, needs to come up with a plan to provide for this legislation, put up guidelines so that water, treated wastewater can be used for irrigation. The other thing that we should champion using of treated wastewater for irrigation is because Kenya is an agricultural country. We depend on agriculture in our economy. Yet most parts of the country receive less than 400 millimeter amount of rainfall. So this is an area where key policy makers should also channel their energy and investments to make sure that this comes up. When we look at the government, mostly use conventional treatment system and approaches to waste management. I did talk about EIA, which is required for facility-based treatment plant system, and this is often the conventional wastewater treatment systems in form of waste stabilization. We have oxidation ponds, we have septic tanks, and biodigester systems. Little effort has been geared towards embracing other technologies of managing waste water. Yeah, so because our focus here is septic tanks, the reasons they are efficient, they are affordable, and they can be built very quickly in areas where we don't have the main sewer line, because you can channel them to a soak pit. The soak pit can drain the liquid part of wastewater after it has undergone maturation in the septic tank. So I will explore that one exhaustively here, even by use of diagram. So simply put, a septic tank can be defined as a primary sedimentation tank with a large detention time, 12 to 36 hours, against a period of 2 hours in an ordinary sedimentation tank. In an unsewered rural and urban areas, septic tanks are suitable for the disposal of human waste, but sufficient water should be available. So this is a caution. Mostly you find these septic tanks are not operating well because of handling. If you don't have sufficient water for flushing, then the operation of the septic tank might be jeopardized. The other thing is a septic tank. If you have a septic tank as a wastewater treatment unit in your home, you should not use disinfectant, because remember, this is a natural. It's a natural process. We call it there's a name. Yeah, biological decomposition. So it uses an aerobic bacteria for the process. So if you use disinfectant, then that might affect the well operation of your septic tank. The size of the septic tank is so designed that the sewage is retained in the tank for 24 hours, during which certain biological decomposition by the action of anaerobic bacteria takes place, which liquefies and breaks the night soil, leaving a small quantity of soil, which is known as sludge, and settles at the bottom of the tank, and clear water, known as effluent, flows out of the tank. The effluent from the septic tank is usually disposed of by absorption in the soil through a soak pit, if no municipal drainage system is prevailing in the area. If a municipal drainage line exists in the area, the effluent is discharged to the drain. It is to be noted that disinfection agents such as bleaching powder, phenyl, etc. should not be used in cleaning latrines, as disinfectant entering the septic tank kills the bacteria growth, as a result of which rate of biological decomposition is retarded. So basically, that is the water septic tank is. And in terms of the drawings, so basically the layout of a septic tank looks like this. So we have got these compartments. We've got two compartments, and you can see that in this section here. Two compartments, that is the compartments. Okay, those access points, one is the manhole cover. Those are the manholes that you can use to access your septic tank and see how it operates. Yeah, now that's the first drawing. You can see this is the first drawing here of a septic tank. So normally septic tank, the materials that are used to construct it varies. You can have a PVC material septic tank, which is basically a tank that has been sized and manufactured with these properties, these configurations. You can also have a reinforced concrete septic tank, and here you can see this is a slab which is reinforced, and then you've got the manholes accesses, and then you've got these dimensions, which you shall see what all these dimensions means in this table here. Capacity in liters, depending on the occupancy of the structure of the house you're constructing. Number of people is here. Dislodging interval in terms of years, normally it's 2 years, and then these are the dimensions. So this table just gives you this is the master this is the design table that gives you the dimensions that can be adopted depending on the number of people and the capacity of wastewater. Normally this is done by a technical person who is trained and is proficient in design of a septic tank. So these are the sections, you can see everything here. I will provide this drawing for your practice, and for those of technical, you can, I will share the link get this AutoCAD file so that you can use it for your designs. So this is basically the structure of a septic tank and the table that is used to size your septic tank. You have got different types, so it will depend on which one you use. Okay. Good. So basically that's we'll take what's called effluent. If I can recap, it's if you are developing a property and the property is not connected to the sewer line, septic tank is usually a very efficient method of wastewater management, and it's very important. And all the services are technical person who can specify the right specifications for your septic tank so that it does not malfunction, and also do not use this phenol disinfectants when you have a septic tank installed in the facility. Normally that is what makes it malfunction, and then you start hearing smells coming through. So thank you very much. If you like this video, you can click on the like button, so share. So what should talk about this video. Thank you.